Imagine your next iPhone editing 4K video, running console-level games, and doing live AI translations with your screen off, while your battery percentage barely moves. That's the kind of leap people think comes from more cores or higher clocks. But the real performance upgrade coming with Apple's A20 isn't about a bigger number on a spec sheet. It's about how the chip is built, how it's powered, and how that unlocks everything else. Quick note before we dive in, Apple hasn't announced the A20. What you're about to hear is based on public industry roadmaps and Apple's playbook so far. No fluff, no hype, just what actually matters if Apple rides the next manufacturing wave. Here's the headline. The A20 is poised to arrive with a next-gen manufacturing process. Think the first Apple phone chip built on a 2-nanometer class node. And the magic trick is something called backside power delivery. Picture every highway in your city suddenly getting all the power lines moved underground. Same space on the surface, but less clutter, less noise, and more room for traffic to fly. In chipland, that means cleaner power, less electrical resistance, and more headroom to go faster without cooking your battery. When you hear 2nm, don't just think smaller, think smarter power and more usable performance per watt. Why does that matter in real life? Because it lets Apple push the core architecture, the GPU, and the neural engine all at once, without the usual trade-offs that force a phone to throttle. Instead of short bursts of speed that fade after a minute, you get sustained speed. Long gaming sessions at consistent frame rates, video exports that don't slow down halfway through, and AI features that actually run locally without hammering your battery. Let's talk CPU first. Apple already leads in single-thread performance, but the real gain here is breathing room for deeper, smarter cores. Expect wider instruction decode, bigger reorder windows, stronger branch prediction. The invisible brainwork that makes everything feel instant. You won't just open apps faster. The phone will feel more ready, with background tasks finished before you even ask. Paired with larger caches, think of them as a bigger, closer pantry for the cores. The A20 cuts the time your phone spends waiting on data. Less waiting equals less wasted energy. That's speed you can feel, not just benchmark bragging. Now, the GPU. If you loved what the A17 Pro did for console-class games and ray tracing, this is the level up that makes those features feel native. Higher geometry throughput, better ray tracing efficiency, smarter memory compression, and a more dynamic way of feeding the GPU so it doesn't starve. Translation. Fewer dips, smoother 60 to 120 FPS in demanding titles, and realistic lighting without your phone turning into a hand warmer. If Apple brings over more of its desktop, metal tricks, like advanced shader scheduling and improved on-chip caching, the A20 turns mobile graphics into simply graphics. Memory is the secret sauce the GPU and AI live or die by. With A20, the conversation shifts from fast enough to finally uncorked. Whether Apple moves to LPDDR6 or the fastest next-gen LPDDR5, the direction is clear: a big jump in bandwidth and lower latency. That means the GPU can pull in textures faster, the CPU doesn't stall on big workloads, and the neural engine gets the data river it needs to work in real time. If you've ever felt random stutter in games or slowdowns in heavy apps, this is the fix that doesn't show up in flashy ads, but changes everything you feel day to day. And now, the star of 2025 and beyond, on-device AI. Apple's been quietly building silicon for this since the first neural engine. The A20 is where that groundwork starts to feel like a superpower. Expect a neural engine that isn't just more TOPS, but better at sustained, low-power inference with larger context windows and faster movement of tensors through the chip. What does that do for you? It turns features you only trusted in the cloud into features that happen on your phone, fast and private. Think real-time voice assistance that understands context across apps, image cleanup and generative fills without a progress bar, live translation during a call, and smart photo video edits that feel like magic instead of a waiting game. The biggest leap isn't that the phone can do AI. It's that it can do it all day without draining your battery or your data plan. The image pipeline gets a quiet but powerful upgrade too. With more bandwidth and smarter AI blocks, computational photography jumps again. Cleaner, low-light shots with less motion blur, Faster multi-frame stacking, richer HDR video with fewer artifacts, and smarter subject isolation. You'll notice it most when you take a night photo, and it just snaps. No spinning wheel. No second try. Thermals and battery life are where the A20's real engineering flex shows up. Backside power delivery and a denser node reduce voltage droop and waste heat. Pair that with Apple's software scheduling, moving routine tasks to tiny efficiency cores and letting the big cores sprint only when needed, and you get a phone that stays cool under pressure, not cool for a minute. Cool in the 15th minute of a race in a heavy game. In cool through a 4K edit. Cool while navigating, streaming and messaging at the same time. Security gets stronger in lockstep. A newer secure enclave, faster encryption primitives, and on-device AI mean features like personal voice, summaries, and sensitive photo recognition can happen without shipping your life to a server. More power, more privacy. The trade-off we used to accept starts to disappear. So, should you wait for the A20? Here's the honest cheat sheet. If you're on an iPhone 12 or 13, the jump to the A20 era will feel massive across the board. Speed, battery, camera, gaming, AI. If you're on a 14, you'll feel it in sustained performance and new AI features that actually matter. If you're on a 15 Pro, you already have serious speed. A20's biggest wins for you will be stability under load, GPU headroom for ray-traced games, and truly useful on-device AI. If you game hard, shoot a lot of video, or you want the best battery-to-performance ratio Apple has shipped yet, the A20 is the one to watch. Here's the takeaway I want you to remember. The A20's real upgrade is not a single number. It's an ecosystem inside the chip. Cleaner power, fatter memory pipes, smarter cores, and an AI engine that's built to run all day. It's the difference between a phone that sprints and then sits down, and a phone that just keeps going. Imagine this moment a year from now. You're on a flight, in airplane mode, cutting a 4K vlog, translating a menu photo for the trip, and answering messages with AI-drafted replies, all locally. No lag, no heat, no fear of a dead battery when you land. That's not marketing. That's what happens when silicon stops chasing clocks and starts rethinking the plumbing. So yes, A20 will sound like just another chip name. But the real performance upgrade coming is the one you'll feel. Smoother gaming, faster edits, smarter photos, private AI that actually helps, and battery life that finally matches the hype. If Apple leans into 2nm with backside power and the memory to feed it, your next iPhone won't just be faster, it will be different. And once you feel that, there's no going back.